Tech Animate, a brand new to me, website full of amazing articles like, but of course today's focus is going to be this one. 11 true reasons why PC gaming is bad. Parentheses, PC gaming is overrated. 11 true reasons. PC gamers tend to go on about how great it is. They make it out to be some kind of wonderland. Well, as someone who's been a PC gamer for many years now, I can safely tell you that's nonsense. There are so many issues you face with PC gaming, it makes me want to smash my monitor and throw the PC out the window. Now, you know gamers always just causing havoc and wrecking mailboxes everywhere they go. In this post, we'll be going over why PC gaming is bad, why people hate it, sick of it, and why they left. Okay. I personally will be gaming on PC for the rest of my life, most likely, but I'm going to be showing you the downfalls. We are off to a fantastic start. PC gaming is bad, but you're still gonna be there. Some incredibly annoying ones that make you want to pull your hair out and smack a baby in the face. Now, after you've read this, you can check out my post on why PC gaming is good. Because remember, guys, if you say the opposite of something wrong, that means the thing you said wrong is irrelevant. Don't criticize me. Number 1, compatibility. Wonderful. This may be the biggest issue with PC gaming. There are so many different graphics cards, processors, and other types of PC parts out there. It becomes difficult for developers to optimize for them all. And some can't even be bothered to optimize for PC. Games like Batman Arkham Knight, there it is, and Mass Effect Andromeda fall under this category. First of all, the fact there are so many different graphics cards, processors, and other types of PC parts, that's a good thing. That's an open marketplace, that's competition, that's hardware being pushed, that's technological capabilities being pushed forward. That is a good thing. That's good for the consumer, that's good for the industry, that's good for developers. The fact that the PC is not one piece of locked hardware is a good thing for literally everyone involved. And with this comment about how Batman Arkham Knight and Mass Effect Andromeda can't be bothered to optimize. Arkham Knight, again, you guys really need to stop bringing up Arkham Knight. The game came out in 2014, 2015. Why is it still your example for how PC gaming is today? And it's also brushing over the fact that Arkham Knight was patched, and now the PC version of Arkham Knight is objectively the best one. And then, like, why are you bringing up Mass Effect Andromeda? Andromeda barely functioned on console. Like, that was a problem with BioWare. That wasn't a problem with the PC version. That was a problem with BioWare, with all versions. That game was a mess. I believe they're fixed now. Okay, so why are you bringing them up? However, when I get a new game and want to play it, the last thing I want is a damn crash. There are an infinite amount of reasons why your game will crash, and it's not always easy to fix. You have to go online and do your research. Look at the wording here. There's an infinite amount of reasons why your game will crash. Will crash. Just interesting wording. And this also implies that crashes are exclusive to the PC versions of games, which we all know is not true. Technical issues are limited to the PC versions of games, which we all know is not true. Cherry picking certain games that were bad on PC and brushing over all of the problems with games on console is not a great way to start your article. Not to mention, there are a bunch of in-game options that could be the thing crashing your game, who knows? And again, just brushing over in-game options. Something that console games barely have. They're just now barely getting in-game options. And even then, a console game has maybe 5% of the in-game options of a PC game. If there's an in-game option that's crashing your game, for some reason, I would have loved even one example of this. But if there's a specific setting in your game that's causing issues, change it. That's what the options are there for. The last thing you want when you've come home from a hard day's work is for your game to crash on you. I mean, you're exhausted and you've worked your ass off, you just want to play a good game, but no. Instead, you need to do a bunch of research on forums and figure out why your game is crashing. Technical issues are limited to PC, guys. You know, PC exclusives are really struggling right now. On the PlayStation, you got the Uncharted games, you got God of War. On Xbox, you got Halo. And on PC, you just have crashes. That's it. You see a lot of console gamers complain about a day one patch. Well, at least you can play the damn game. You see a lot of console gamers complaining about in-game options. Well, at least you can alter the damn game. Are we seeing the irony here? And then she links to a video called "This Is Why I Hate PC Gaming" from Hard8 and AGS Live, which I'm sure some of you are familiar with the nature of that channel. In a big list of 11 reasons why PC gaming sucks, number 1 is off to a bad start. Let's keep going and see if it gets better. It doesn't. Number 2, software issues, which are apparently exclusive to PC. This reason is also similar to the compatibility issue. So, wrong. You don't know if your Windows software is interfering with your game. Fucking... Why? What? One of the most annoying things you're going to find when you're gaming on PC... Are you fucking kidding me? One of the most annoying things you're going to find when you are gaming on PC is something updating in the background while playing a game. This is absolutely going to kill the performance and cause a bunch of lag. Two things: background updates are something the consoles are literally marketing for themselves. And second of all, background updates are on a case-by-case basis. Most of the time, I don't even notice they're happening, because PC hardware is just better for this kind of thing. PCs are literally built to multitask. PCs are literally built to be doing a whole bunch of things. But tell me more about how a background update is going to destroy your game performance. And if a background update is killing your performance, just pause the update. Or just wait for the update to be done. I almost felt like quitting PC gaming and just throwing my gaming machine out the window. Again, you don't know what's causing this issue. If you open Task Manager, yes you do. You don't know if the issue is something that is updating in the background and you're trying to figure out what software it is. It could be anything that's interfering with your game. Task Manager. It's a beautiful thing. So even if the game is optimized for your PC components, wait, I thought PC games weren't optimized. The software you have on your PC could be causing the game to lag, minimize the game, and crash. I don't know how long this video is so far. The recording is 12 and a half minutes so far, because this is gonna be a rough one. Number 3, not many AAA exclusives. I mean, AAA exclusives aren't really something that everyone cares about, and if recent events have taught us anything, it's that none of these AAA exclusives are really safe on the consoles. They're coming to PC in one way or another. Give it a few years and you'll be hard-pressed to find an exclusive franchise that doesn't have PC ports. I see a lot of PC gamers brag about there being lots of exclusives on the PC, because there are. And there are some good exclusives like League of Legends and World of Warcraft. However, consoles have a lot more AAA exclusives. Define AAA, because I think League of Legends and World of Warcraft are two of the most AAA games you can get right now. Consoles have a lot more blockbuster exclusives such as Spider-Man, God of War, Uncharted, not for long, Halo, which might be on the PC now, but after so many years, and the list goes on. Halo's been on PC since the early 2000s. So if you want to play these big blockbuster games, guess what? They're not going to be coming to your PC anytime soon. That's a little awkward. In fact, the reason why I got a PS4 was simply to play God of War and the Spider-Man game. Buying a console for 2 games is not a good investment. Also funny that you seem not super stoked about the fact that there aren't as many AAA, blockbuster games on PC. There's these blockbuster exclusives, but you still bought a console just for the exclusives. I wonder why companies keep making exclusives. It's a mystery. Number 4, uncomfortable. Yeah, I am. What almost made me want to quit PC gaming was how you have to be attached to a desk. You literally don't. You always have to be playing at a desk. You literally don't. Now some of you may be thinking, hey, you can just grab a lap desk and game on your couch and have the PC connected to your television. Well, it's not as simple as that. Yes, it is as simple as that. Your computer has an HDMI port. Your TV has an HDMI port. What? For example, if you live with others in the house, such as your family or roommates, they may want to be watching the TV. And if you are in the living room, there's a good chance there's going to be a lot of noise. And I don't know about you, but I love to game when I'm on my own. How is this possibly a PC problem? I have no doubt that maybe you've lived in a noisy household. Maybe you have a living room that your family or friends like to use. But in what universe is that the PC's fault? And what is it doing on an article about how much the PC sucks? You are so desperately grasping for straws here. Also, you may not have enough room or even the budget to spend on a PC and couch in your room. Now let's say you do have the room and an option to be gaming from the couch and on your TV. Well, the setup can be a real pain. Plug the thing into the TV. Setup is over. Do you really want to be moving the entire gaming setup from your desk all the way to your living room? And then there's a bunch of wires everywhere. You have to get a lap desk if you want to game via the mouse and keyboard, and after, you need to pack it all away, which could be another nuisance. Look, if you personally don't want to do this, that's fine. Like, genuinely, that is fine if you don't want to do all that. I mean, granted, it's not as much work as you're describing it to be, but if you don't want to have the PC in your living room, you don't have to do it. But this is a list about things the PC sucks at, the things the PC can't do. You just said, like 3 sentences ago, that having a PC on your TV or having a PC in your living room wasn't that simple. But now you're saying, yes, it is that simple, you just don't like it. And that somehow puts it on a negative PC article? How is this any different from a console? You bring the console into your living room, you plug it into your TV, you have a controller, you play your game, and then if you want to bring the console back to your room, you got to pack it up and bring it back to your room. Is the PC bigger? Yeah. Does the PC involve more cables? Yeah, 1 or 2. Who cares? And if you really don't want to use a mouse and keyboard, you can control your PC with a controller. Like, that is completely an option you have. Gaming from your desk, you're obviously going to be using a chair. Well, that chair can really hurt your back. And I'm talking really, really hurt your back. Get a different chair. Sit up straight. Jesus Christ. I've personally had back problems, and I had to go to the chiropractor because I've been sitting down all the time. Sitting down all the time isn't good for you. Yeah, I also had some problems, actually, because, like a few years ago when I was like 19, 20, when I first started working from home and was also an avid gamer, and I was sitting a lot of the time, like sitting like 10 hours a day, yeah, I kind of did some damage. I went to the doctor. He told me to make some lifestyle changes. I said, okay. I made some lifestyle changes. I am completely fine now. Maybe take responsibility for your lifestyle. Just a thought. And you're probably thinking, well, you're going to be sitting down when gaming on your console. Well, if your gaming console, most likely you're going to be sitting on the couch. And that's a lot better than a gaming or office chair. Again, well, if your gaming console... Did you proofread this? Like, at all? Nothing you're saying here is exclusive to the PC. Nothing you're saying here has anything to do with just the PC market. Like, what? Like, why is this here? Number 5, failing PC. I'm just going to put this on screen right now. For no particular reason. No specific reason. Just some additional colors on screen for you to look at. Now, if you've owned an Xbox... Why is owned capitalized? Now, if you've owned an Xbox 360 or even the current generation of consoles, you may have had it die on you. Well, guess what? It gets a lot worse on your gaming PC. The parts in your PC... The should be capitalized there. Like, did you... Holy shit. Journalism. The parts in your PC are a lot more likely to die on you from my experience. Well, from my experience, you're wrong. And from just about everyone else, every other PC gamer I know's experience, you're wrong. I've had way more consoles die on me than any piece of PC hardware that I've had. And also, if something in your PC breaks, you can replace that one part. You can fix that one part. If something in your console breaks, fucking toodaloo, console. Go get a new one. I've personally had to fix a lot of issues inside my PC, and most likely you will too. No, not most likely. If you're going to say things like most likely, or most, or all, or definitely, you're gonna need to back that shit up. Claims made without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. And even if we're just using anecdotal evidence, any actual PC gamer will tell you you're wrong here. There's just a lot of tinkering around, and if you can't deal with that type of stuff, then you probably shouldn't be gaming on PC. I love tinkering around with my PC. I love it. Like, genuinely, I love tinkering around. That's part of the reason I love the PC. All the different parts, all the different hardware combinations, I love it. It's really fun. In the words of Nick Miller, it's like high-stakes Legos. I've personally had hard drives that sounded really loud, and that's because the hard drive was about to die. I've also had motherboards and RAM sticks fail on me. Which ones? And when? That's just the way it goes with PC gaming. It's only a matter of time before you run into this and start pulling your hair out. I've been gaming on PC since 2017. That's when I got my first gaming PC. I played on my laptop before that, but my first gaming PC, the first time I got a dedicated gaming PC was 2017. I've never experienced this. Number 6, not as many people online. Are you fucking kidding me? Let's say you've purchased a game like Mortal Kombat, Injustice, or even Naruto. Even, when these games were first released, there were hardly any people playing them online after a couple weeks. It was incredibly hard to find a server with other people playing it. So if you like to play these kinds of games for the online experience, you should probably get them for your console instead. Now, there is an argument to be made here. It's a bit of a flimsy argument now because crossplay is becoming more and more commonplace, which is a fantastic thing. There are certain games that don't have as big a community on PC. The PC, objectively, has a way bigger user base than the consoles. Like, a hilariously bigger player base. So yes, these people are going to be spread out across more games. That doesn't mean nobody's playing these games. That doesn't mean there's not enough people for these games to be played online effectively. So yes, certain games will have more people online on console as opposed to PC, assuming that game doesn't have crossplay. But let's think about this. Let's really think about this for a second. Why? Why is the player base bigger on console? It's because they have less games. And it's up to you to really decide if that's a trade you want to make. Do you want some of your online games to have bigger communities? Or do you want a bigger game selection? We can't just stop thinking at step one here. Yes, certain games that don't have crossplay will be more active on console than PC. But you have to think about why that is. Number 7, paying too much attention to performance. This is a personal issue. I am skipping over this one. Number 8, launchers. You can purchase PC games from a bunch of places. This includes Steam, Origin, GOG, and even Discord. The list goes on. Well, guess what? In order to play these games, you're going to have to launch them from a separate place. For example, Steam has its own launcher and GOG has its own launcher. They are their own platform. Oh, and this includes trophies. So if you enjoy collecting trophies, guess what? They're not going to show up in one place. For example, if you buy The Witcher 3 on GOG like I did and start collecting trophies, those trophies aren't going to show up on Steam, which isn't capitalized, where most of your friends are. And this is just a price that you have to pay for the open marketplace. Personally, I'm completely willing to pay it. I'm completely willing to have multiple launchers on my PC. Because by having multiple launchers and by giving myself all these different options, I'm allowing myself to have more places to play my games, more places to host my games, which leads to lower prices, which leads to more features. So these launchers and these services competing with one another to make the experience as best as possible for the user. And, people say like, oh, you gotta keep track of your friends lists on these different launchers. It takes like 3 seconds to accept a friend request. If you have a friend you met on Steam and you want to play a game with them on Battle.net, just ask them their Battle.net tag. Trophies, sure, you're right. You're absolutely right. Trophies don't track on everything. But if you don't care about trophies, who cares? Also, frankly, I'm willing to sacrifice trophy progress if it means I get more options for my game. 9, hard to justify collector items. You are really gonna have to reach with this one. I remember when Fallout 4 was being released and my friend was about to purchase the collector's edition on PC. I found it very difficult to justify that purchase since he could only buy the downloadable game on PC. Do you think that console game discs are actually running the game, or are you aware that console game discs are basically just launchers now? When you play that game, the disc isn't spinning because it's just basically just a launch. Okay. So instead, the creators should have had an option where you could exclude the physical game and buy the collector's items instead. But this doesn't happen much, making it hard to justify that kind of purchase. I'm really struggling to... Oh wait, no, she says something else. Now I know this is a completely personal preference, so you acknowledge this one as personal preference, but not the other ones. And I'm highlighting this little bit just in case anyone in the comments or anywhere says, oh, you're coming down on her for her personal preference. No, this one is personal preference. The other ones, according to her, are not. Let's move on. 10, better components don't always give a major boost in graphics. Yes, they do. A lot of the time when I have a game on ultra settings on my PC and take a look at it on consoles, it doesn't always look that good in comparison. Put glasses on. Of course, there are exceptions like The Witcher 3 or if you're modding Skyrim graphically. However, I think the whole PC gaming having better graphics is blown out of proportion. Oh my god, couple things here. The Witcher 3 alone should be enough to shut this argument down. The Witcher 3 on console versus The Witcher 3 on ultra settings on PC, holy fuck, that is a difference. Like that example alone should be enough to shut this down. But also, modding Skyrim, implying that Skyrim, just vanilla Skyrim on PC doesn't look better? Or doesn't run better? Like really? Have you played Skyrim on console? And the graphical upgrades aren't always that great. For example, when I was playing The Witcher 3, I had everything to the max setting except for one thing, the hair effects. When I turned the hair effect on, my frame rate took a giant hit and the hair effects weren't anything great. Yeah, because hair is extremely difficult to render in real time. Like CG hair moving in real time with the physics of a game engine, that is extremely difficult to render. So I'm not surprised your frame rate took a hit when you cranked up the hair effects, but that's an option you have. If you don't want to do it, then just don't do it. Like when did options become a bad thing? When I turned it off, I didn't notice a difference. I saw some people build rigs completely dedicated to maxing that game, but it's not worth it in my opinion. Your opinion. At that time, my graphics card was an RX 480. I loved the thing, came in at a good price, and was a beast at gaming. I don't want to get too into this. You can look into this yourself. This video is long enough as it is. But, I mean, if you know anything about gaming, you should know that an RX 480 isn't really the best benchmark for something like this. Like, if your gauge of PC gaming's power is The Witcher 3 running on an RX 480, I'm just questioning this one. I also think it's funny how you say your frame rate took a big hit when you turned on the hair effects on this RX 480. It took a hit from what to what? What was the card's performance relative to the console after you turned that effect on? Witcher 3 is a really demanding game to run. It's a gigantic game. So why are we using this as like a negative point? But I just wasn't able to completely max The Witcher. If I decided I want Ed, Oh my god. If I decided I want Ed to completely max the game, then I would have had to spend approximately $600 for a new GPU. No, this just wasn't worth it for me. PC gamers tend to forget that graphics do not make a game. Sure, graphics can make a significant difference, but if the content is crap, then it's going to suck. Interesting argument to make against the PC. Very interesting to paint that as a PC problem. I'm not looking to go on a walking simulator or watch a movie. Are you sure you meant to say that about PC games? I want to get stuck in a good game. The graphics aren't everything, and if the game does have amazing graphics, then that's just the icing on the cake. The Witcher 3 is a perfect example. The ultimate irony of you saying you don't want walking simulators and you don't like it when games skimp on content but go hard on graphics, and you're painting that as a PC problem. Lancaster, California. I don't even know where that is. Shut up. And finally, number 11, buying games that you only spend 0 to 2 hours on. How is this a problem? What I love about PC gaming is how you can get good games for dirt cheap. I love it. However, we often get trigger happy on Steam and G2A, spending a little amount of money which eventually amounts to a lot. We end up never playing these games or only putting in a couple hours. Yeah, everyone has a backlog. Like, yeah, it is kind of a meme that PC gamers have giant backlogs of games takes forever for them to get around to, or maybe they never get around to. But the reason we have giant backlogs is because the pricing on PC is just so much better than on console. And even then, pretty much every console gamer also has a backlog of their own. It's just not as big because the sales aren't as frequent and the pricing isn't as good. What was the point? I'm guilty of this crap. And when we do finally sit down to play that game, we're often just thinking of playing that other game we bought. I will say this can be a good problem to have. It's still kind of annoying to have though. So cheap games and having a big selection of games, and having really easy access to games, it's annoying. Great. Conclusion. So those were the exact reasons why PC gaming is bad. Again, this isn't her saying, in my opinion. This is her saying definitively, right there, why PC gaming is bad. Are you triggered? Good. Just kidding. I just wanted to show people the reality of PC gaming. It's not as great as people say it is. If you present your opinions as fact, I will criticize them as such. Oh boy. Man, I'm struggling to come up with a conclusion here. This was one of the worst articles I've seen in a while. Regardless, I don't care, because it gets me content, and it gets you content, so everybody wins. Anyways, feel free to follow me on Twitter at JoeFromSeattle1. Send me stuff if you want me to respond to it or take a look at it. Down below in the description, I also have a link to my donations. Donations are never expected, but very much appreciated. And there's the link to my music channel, where there is a new music from my band, Curbside Anthem. If you like late 90s, early 2000s pop punk, and you want to listen to that kind of shit. And I will see you all a little later. Toodles.